Electronics and sensors are getting exponentially cheaper and cheaper with each passing day. 60-inch televisions, when they first came out, were tens of thousands of dollars. Now, you can get one for $300, which is insane if you think about it. The chipsets, batteries, touchscreens, the sensors, those have been inexpensive for a while now. But companies like Garmin and Apple are trying to justify their high price tags with custom operating systems that exist on their watches. But now, with Google's Wear OS, it's no longer expensive or labor-intensive to program a smartwatch that is well integrated and has all the same features as a $500 or even a $700 smartwatch.
I finally believe that I've found the closest clone to a real Apple Watch out there. So on a genuine Apple Watch, you basically click this to go to your menu. Similarly, on the clone, you have this here, and okay, you can swipe over there, and this is, so the size difference is basically, this is a 42 millimeter, and this is a 44 millimeter. I do have the brightness setting turned down quite a bit on this one to, I believe, the lowest setting. So just to show kind of the response of the processor. So how smooth, so it is a little bit smoother on the genuine Apple Watch, obviously, but not by much. Aesthetically, you have the crown here, which on the Apple Watch you can zoom in and out. On this one, you can do the same thing, zooms in and out with this dial, which not all of the clones have. The side button here is a functional button, so they both operate the same. It's got the little speaker there, I believe, microphone, and the speakers on the other side. The back part, you have the optical sensors that read your heart rate and your body metrics. See, there's a bit, I don't know if you can notice that, but there's a bit of a border even on the genuine Apple Watch around the screen. So on the edge, there's a little bit of a border. So this one, there's also a little bit of a border, so you'll pretty comparable again. That's it.
How can something that costs less than $50 match the quality of something that's $300?
So this is the IWO14 Pro. And this is one of those $40 Apple Watch clones that you'll find on AliExpress and various things. And what you'll see here are some little bit of differences. So on this one, aesthetically, is the button. So it's missing the power button that is on the real Apple Watch. So that's one indicator. The optical sensor looks pretty much the same. Some few engravings that are a little bit different, but the engraving on this is a lot more clear and legible, whereas this one is almost obscure. The other thing you'll notice is the way that it charges. So this one is magnetic charging. So those 2 points there would attach to your magnetic charger and it would charge that way. Whereas on the IWO14 Pro, it has none of that. And it basically just charges the same way that a real Apple Watch would charge with the magnetic charger. It looks the same. Let me pull it out here. So this is what the charger looks like on the 14 Pro. Basically just sits on there just like the real Apple Watch. Another thing you'll notice on the back side here are these two buttons. So these are the strap release buttons, which basically so your straps look like this, and they slide into there, and it depresses on these. So you would basically slide this in this way, and then when you press this, this is what releases the locks on this one. Whereas on some of the cheaper ones, the $40 ones, they basically just slide in there, and there is no tension lock. So you could slide it in and out without having to press that button. So just a bit of added security. I've never had it actually slip out, but I imagine if you're running and it's rubbing, it could kind of shift. I don't believe that it would actually come out, but just something to note. Size-wise, it's pretty, they're pretty similar. So the button, the back side there, the tension lock, the charging, the speakers. So these are the speakers there. They're the same. So they're both aluminum housing. However, the housing on this one, this is the space gray IWO14 Pro. It looks much nicer. This one is more of a straight black, whereas this one it just looks like better quality. Okay, functionality wise, the crown on the it's cheaper ones, the $40 cheaper models, they don't function. Whereas on a real Apple Watch, this crown actually acts as a zoom in and zoom out. Okay, and as well as you can actually go through your various watch faces by turning this crown. So it's got a functional crown dial. It also acts as a back button. This is your power button, whereas on some of the cheaper ones, this is your only button. So it'll be your back button, your power button, and then there is no rotating function. Another unique thing about this is it has the blood O2 monitor on there, and it has the EKG. It does not have GPS, whereas the 14, the IWO14, as opposed to the Pro, which we have here, does have the GPS capability. They do make one that you can put a SIM card in, so you could make calls and text directly from your watch. This one does not have that, so you would be making calls and text messages through the device via your phone. So it would just, you could talk to the device, you would receive calls, and you can respond from your watch directly. So yeah, so this is the most, I would say the most accurate replica or copy, clone of the Apple Watch, if you will.
Is the heart rate monitor accurate?
One thing that people are going to want to know is how accurate are the optical heart rate sensors. So one thing you need to understand about optical heart rate sensors is that they have some limitations. They'll never be as accurate as a chest strap or a dedicated strap that goes on to your somewhere else in your body. Just because when it's sitting there, wrist flexation, how it moves around a little bit, it may not provide the best contact point to your wrist, and then just movement and stuff like that. However, Apple Watch has been, according to third-party testing, has shown to be probably the most accurate wrist-worn heart rate sensor out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on, and we're going to compare the data that we get, the reading that we get from it, to the reading that we would get on a Garmin heart rate wrist-borne heart rate sensor, okay? Okay, so I have here a Garmin Instinct watch, and you'll see my heart rate reading right here. So you want to keep an eye on that. And what I'll be doing is I'll be wearing the clone, the IWO14 Pro on my right wrist, and simultaneously I'll have the Garmin on my left wrist, and we're going to see a side-by-side display of what reading we get on the clone in comparison to the Garmin. Monitoring this way, so again, keep an eye on this part here. Takes it a few moments to take a reading. So 79 versus 77. So pretty close. About 2 beats per minute is, I would say, pretty negligible. So here's we got 77 and 78. We got 74 on the clone. So I'd say again pretty close to, pretty comparable to the Garmin device.
There are 3 things that I always look for.
So when you're looking for an Apple Watch clone, what I would say to look for is that you want to make sure that you're getting a full screen device, so which means that it's a 1.78 or 1.75 screen, which means that it goes pretty much to the edge of your whole screen, as opposed to some of them will have a larger lip on the bottom or a larger lip on the top, whereas this one equally goes around the edges, just like a real Apple Watch. The other thing that is a distinct feature is the functional crown dial, which when you spin it, it actually does what it would on a real Apple Watch. Many of the clones in the lower price range do not have that. Also this button. So with a lot of the ones you'll see on there is they will not have this button. And you want to check that carefully, because some of them will use a photo of a real Apple Watch as their main photo. But if you look at the other images, look for this button. If it does not have that, I would stay away from that if you're looking for a clone. Also, the other thing about it is the magnetic charger. Look for, if you're looking for a good clone, look for ones with a magnetic charger that is styled like this, as opposed to the one with the 2 connection points there. And then when you are looking at buying one online, look at the features, because not all of them are created equal. They may all look the same because they are clones of an Apple Watch. So they'll all be, to varying degrees, look like an Apple Watch. So you'll want to look at how many watch faces does it have? Does it have the functional crown? Does it have the power button? Is it wirelessly charging? Does it have these buttons, the strap release buttons? Does it have blood O2 sensor? Does it have an ECG? Does it have blood O2 sensor and ECG are probably the ones that are least common in these cloned devices. And also look at the processor. Have a look and see if the processor is actually powerful enough, fast enough to be able to function without a lag. The other thing that I wanted to find in a clone was compatibility with the various accessories and straps that are out there for Apple Watches. So universally, all the clones should be compatible with this style of strap, and they're all all the clones that I've seen do come with at least one strap, so you could always use that. If you're happy with that, no problem. But a key difference with some of them are the thickness of the device itself, and how wide they are and their dimensions. So a lot of them will be close to an Apple Watch, but not quite the same. So you may find it tricky to fit them into molded straps, protective cases that are made for real Apple Watch products. So this is a genuine strap made for an Apple Watch Series 6. So we're gonna try to put this into this strap to see if it fits. All right, so as you can see, it fits pretty good. All right, guys, so finally, what features are there on the real Apple Watch that this clone does not support? So right off the bat, Apple Pay. This does not have Apple Pay. It has no way to have Apple Wallet or anything like that. While it is compatible with both iOS and Android devices, it does not have Apple Pay. It does not have iTunes. So you can't load this device with music. It only, but it will play music off of your phone via Spotify or whatever music you have on your device. You can use this to control and play your music, increase the volume, skip, and all that stuff. But it does so only as long as your phone is within range. IWO does make one that has a SIM card, just like the genuine Apple Watch SE or the Apple Watch 6. There are versions with or without a SIM card, which basically having a SIM card allows you to use this device as a phone independently of your phone, making calls and sending text messages independently of your phone. While you can send text messages and receive and make calls through this device, your phone has to be within range. Next thing is the accelerometer. The genuine Apple Watch has a feature called the anti-fall feature, I believe it's called, which is basically if you're a senior citizen, for example, and you're wearing one, if you take a fall, the accelerometer will detect the rapid change of vertical change and will come up with an alert that you can press to contact whoever your emergency contacts may be on your device. This does not have that. The Apple Watch Series 6 and SE also have the always-on altimeter, which basically an altimeter, for those that don't know, uses the air pressure to basically determine your altitude. The previous versions didn't have that either. Previous versions of the Apple Watch didn't have that either, but it is something that was on the Series 6 that this one does not have that. Another thing that it does not have is on a genuine Apple Watch, you have the option of the always-on retinal display. Whereas on this clone and all the clones that I've seen so far, the maximum time that you can have your screen on and stay on is 1 minute. The lowest is 5 seconds and the longest is 60 seconds, after which it will power itself down until you move your wrist. So move your wrist up or down and it will turn on. Battery life, I would say you actually get a bit more power out of these than what is listed for the Apple Watch. And yeah, so that's about it. Again, this is the IWO14 Pro, non-GPS, and based on my reviewing other products and looking at other products out there, the most accurate clone to an Apple Watch Series 6 that you can get. The manufacturer, IWO, lists their MSRP at $120 US for the GPS version, which is weird because it's just the IWO14 listed for about 120 US, whereas this one they list at about 150 US, which is the Pro version. I'm not entirely sure what the differences are, other than I believe this has more watch faces, but the no GPS I would have thought would price this at a lower price than the one with GPS, but that's what the manufacturer says. These are directly from the manufacturer. They say to not use AliExpress to purchase their IWO products because they cannot guarantee that what you're getting is a genuine IWO product or not. So again, directly purchase these from IWO. You do need to, there is a minimum order to purchase these from them in order to get the wholesale price.